Hello everyone, Hayes here, and welcome to another Overwatch video. It's been a little while since I uploaded, mostly because I've been really sick of Overwatch, because the game is in a really unhealthy state right now with Roadhog, Sojourn, Mercy, all these really unhealthy aspects of the game just running rampant. This is one of the most pivotal patch notes that we've gotten in a long time, towards pushing the game to a proper state that will be enjoyable again. Um, and hopefully, I'm hoping these patch notes work out. I have them on the screen, but I'm actively resisting the urge to look at them. So you'll get my live reaction here. Okay, we go right into the hero updates. So we have Ursa Fortify health bonus reduced from 125 to 75. That's pretty nice. Looks like that's the only change done to Orisa. We're about to get into Roadhog. Now, I bought this game 6 years ago, so I've been hoping that Roadhog would get drastically reworked or nerfed um, for a very long time, since pretty much the moment I bought the game. So I'm hoping that looks good because I see um, that's right below there. But health bonus, that's pretty nice. Orisa is really fucking annoying right now. When the game first launched, the biggest issue with Orisa was that she had that, like, she couldn't die, but like at least she wasn't dealing damage. But now she's dealing damage. Her ult's better, so they needed to make it so she's easier to kill. This is a good step in the right direction. I don't know. Fortify is still really strong because you lose your headshot hitbox. Um, but this is a nice change. Roadhog. Oh boy, that's a lot. Okay. So, impact damage reduced from 30 to 5. That's cool. The enemy's final position distance from Roadhog after being pulled is increased from 3 to 4 meters. Okay, that's interesting. Um, a whole extra meter, yeah, that could be pretty good. This is one of those things where you need to see it in action, because obviously it makes it, harder for Roadhog to hit, but you could still hit a headshot from that range. So I see they're changing the scrap gun, but that's one of those things where you have to see it to like fully understand. Like, is 1 meter like a lot, um, visually and even in terms of like being able to hit your headshots? So the scrap gun damage per pellet is reduced from 6.6 down to 6. That's pretty massive. That's a huge decrease. And then the recovery time reduced. You reload slightly faster and the max ammo is increased. Um, Off the top of my head, this seems yeah, this seems underwhelming, to be honest. Um, I think the hook doing only 5 damage is a good change. And then they'll be a meter farther from you. Um, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Or, well, it's obviously a good thing anytime they're, but like in terms of, is that enough? So you could still do a bit of damage. Um, but I see like the scrap gun got its damage reduced by 0.6, but then they buffed it in 3 ways, if I'm seeing that correctly, because recovery time, yeah, you would want recovery time to be lower. So the scrap gun gets 3 net buffs for 1 net nerf. So that's a little weird on the surface. Um, this is one of those things where you have to see it to um where you have to see it in action before you can kind of gauge how good this will be. But just looking at this, it feels underwhelming. Um, to what we thought was going to happen with Roadhog. Like, I was expecting him to get nerfed into the ground, and then eventually they would, work on reworking him to be a completely different hero. Obviously, still centered around the chain hook and scrap gun, but just working differently than being a DPS tank. Um, it's a little disappointing they didn't touch his healing at all. because that's obviously like the biggest part of his entire kit, and the fact that Kiriko exists too. I mean, maybe Kiriko and Ana are gonna get looked at, so I should look further. Sojourn, this is the other big one. Okay, and I see Kiriko. So, Sojourn, energy gain is no longer based on damage done by primary fire. Each primary fire hit against an enemy now grants 5 energy. Okay. So that's interesting. Because basically it was like 100 damage. Huh. Yeah, because basically the way it works now, or has worked, is 100 damage, 1 point of damage equals 1 point of charge on your railgun. So I don't. So basically, right here, primary fire damage per projectile reduced from 10 to 9. So in that case, it took 10 shots out of your primary fire to charge up 110 hits out of your primary fire, assuming that it's not headshots. So it's 10 body shots out of your primary fire would uh would charge up to 100 in your railgun blast. And if you hit headshots, that would get lower. But now it's 5 energy to hit. So that means you need to hit 20 shots, period. Because headshots, it's no longer based on damage. If you hit a head versus hitting the body, it's the same. It's just a fixed 5 damage. This is actually really good. I like that because it also mitigates the damage boost problem with Mercy. That's also like that's literally double in like, and sometimes like, I mean, if you're hitting headshots, that like, wow. Um and they also decreased her damage output. That's actually really good change in my opinion. Um if I'm understanding it correctly, because to me that goes from like, if you hit 10 body shots, you get 100 charge. Now it's you need to hit 20. They literally doubled the amount of hit shots you need to hit. Now obviously that's going to be interesting, you know, to see, like, obviously high skill Sojourns can still hit a ton of shots, but that's a really good change in my opinion. And I'm interested to see how that plays out in game. So good step. Healing of Fuda, recovery time. Oh my god, just hit her hard, dude. Like, why? Kiriko is so fucking good. Why do you keep only doing these little mini changes? Just hit her hard and see what fucking happens. Don't just. It's so frustrating. Um, recovery time increased from 0.85 to 1 second. Despite Kiriko's. So basically, it's her reload time, because she doesn't really reload, she recovers. Um, yeah, being slow moving, and her average healing output per match is higher than we'd like. Yeah, because they want her to be a DPS. They want her to be a DPS healer, kind of like Zenyatta. Um, yeah, interesting. So the recovery time is basically like reload for her healing Ofuda, because she doesn't reload those. They just kind of come back. Um, that's interesting. It still doesn't change the, like, it doesn't change the fact that, like, it's still better to heal bot on Kiriko because Kitsune is so fucking good. And obviously Suzu is just, like, in my opinion, an ability that doesn't belong in Overwatch. The game is so heavily based around statuses and stuns. Like, they literally, when they went from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, they freaking made this conscious effort to remove stuns from the game, because they were like, stuns are too big part of the game. They're so powerful. There needs to be less of them. And then they introduce a character that cleanses stuns. Like, an ability like that should not exist. The fact that it gives freaking uh, immortality frames is fucking insane as well. They, I mean, I cannot believe they looked at an ability like Immortality Field on Baptiste and were like, we need another version of that in this game. That's incredibly frustrating, and that looks like the end of that. Wow. Overall, like I like the changes done to Sojourn, and I hope that these are good on Roadhog. It's hard to gauge without seeing what it looks like first. Um, and then I think this is a good step in the right direction for Arisa. I still think she's going to be pretty good. Um, and this is just frustrating. Like, just hit Kiriko hard. Kitsune, like, she's so fucking good, and this is gonna do nothing to her. This is basically like not making a change at all, in my opinion. Really frustrating. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Bye.